Hey everybody, my name's Dr. Genevieve Cadell of mybestrelationship.com, and I felt compelled to come on here and record a video about one of the most popular blogs that I wrote maybe like 4.5 years ago now, about what to do when you feel invisible in your relationship. The reason why I am sharing this video now is because I get a lot of comments on this post, and there was one that really kind of stood out to me, and it's kind of in the same veins as many that write in that basically say that I'm pretty much dead wrong in the post. Now, the post says, in so many words, what do you do when you're feeling invisible in a relationship? And points out the all too common dynamic that is enacted between couples when one person really does feel invisible and unimportant, and their deepest feelings of abandonment are sort of brought up into the light because their partner is ignoring them or paying more attention to their phone than their partner, or maybe has a drug or alcohol problem, or maybe watches TV and doesn't respond to their partner, or gets so absorbed in their work that their partner feels like they are invisible. So anyway, the post basically states that this is a pretty, it's a damaging but also a common pattern that couples get caught in. And one of the ways that the person who's invisible or who feels invisible often responds, which is completely understandable, is to get louder in the face of that. When we don't recognize that we really do matter to each other, and that we feel alone or abandoned or hurt or like we don't matter, I might be repeating myself there, but when you feel that way, it's kind of hard to actually acknowledge that, because many of us are taught, you're not supposed to be needy, and you're not supposed to be clingy, and you should do it on your own. And to actually kind of come out and really feel those feelings and express them takes a huge dose of vulnerability. And it also takes, a certain amount of safety in the relationship to be able to do that. And like a whole, ton of self-awareness as well, which, let's face it, many of us don't have. So anyway, the post basically shares how the invisible party, or the person who feels invisible, often responds, again, in an understandable way, by turning the volume up and getting louder. And maybe kind of being frustrated and angry all the time, and critical and hostile. And as a result, what happens is they wind up, doing themselves a disservice, because when they really just want their partner to come closer to them, they wind up pushing their partner away. Now, I see this happen all too often, and people don't even realize that they're doing it. And the person who is feeling invisible, whether they realize they're feeling invisible or not, might not even realize how they're coming across, and or how their behavior or attitude or emotions are being interpreted, okay? Now, it's a tricky thing, right? We are only responsible for ourselves and how we feel, yet we are innately connected and wired for connection as well. So we do impact each other in big ways. And something happens along the lines where signals get crossed, wires get crossed, things get misperceived. And before you know it, couples wind up in this pattern that, again, is all too common and has been researched and studied by psychologists over the years, where one person is just shutting down and trying to protect themselves and feeling attacked and feeling like they can't live up to their partner's expectations, while their partner, who is feeling invisible and abandoned and alone, is also angry and can become critical and hostile. So I tried to kind of explain that pattern that in the blog post, Feeling Invisible, Here's What to Do. And I wanted to respond to a comment, because it's not the first time I've gotten a comment like this, and I think it's really important. So I wanted to let me just pull it up and read the comment. Basically, the advice that I gave in the post, the whole point of the post was to share this perspective that just watch yourself, watch what you're doing, understand how your behaviors might impact your partner, and how you might be contributing to the cycle that you're caught in, okay? Now, again, is one blog post going to explain every relationship there ever was? No. Am I excusing outright, neglect or things like that? No. But what I am calling people to do is to take a step back, to take a meta perspective, and to look in on their situation, which is really hard to do. When we are too close to any situation, whether it's our work, our relationship, our health, we don't understand the things that we're doing that are, self-sabotaging or holding us back from what we want. So the point of the post was to say, is this a pattern that you're in? If so, look at what you're doing. And the response that somebody wrote is, that I wanted to call out and talk about. This advice is honestly really harmful. So as soon as I hear that, I'm like, oh, what am I doing that's harming somebody? I don't want to harm, right? That's first duty, not to harm, right? I'm not a physician, but I don't want to harm anybody. Then they write, I was in a relationship where I was constantly being ignored and made less important than her phone. And sometimes I was ignored for entire days. This is not a sign of love and caring. It's abuse. And in no way should it be turned on the victim to make it their responsibility to fix it. And I want to respond to that with a couple different things. Number one, yeah, neglect is pretty much abuse. It's bad. I agree. Number two, in no way do I ever want to imply that somebody in an abusive relationship has the obligation to fix their partner, okay? We cannot fix other people. However, you can fix situations that you're in, right? And sometimes that means if it is an outright neglectful or abusive situation that's not working, it might mean getting outside help, professional help, whether that's for you. And again, if this is a like seriously violent, intimate partner kind of violence situation, then I strongly suggest you get confidential help at once. The hotline.org is a great place to go do that. I recognize it's not so easy to just step out of a relationship that's abusive. Sometimes it's more dangerous than otherwise. I get that. I do not recommend couples therapy for that sort of situation. But in a situation where it's not violent, it's not, manipulative and this outright classic domestic abuse situation, I recommend you do something about it. It's not your responsibility to fix your partner by all means, but you also have the responsibility to look at the situation and to do what you want to fix it, to fix the situation. Whether that means stepping out of the relationship or demanding that things change. And you can do that by getting professional help. For a lot of people who respond to my blog posts, I often say, hey, this sounds like a really tricky situation, right? If it's been happening for years or it's pretty severe, then get some help, get some professional help. Invest in yourself. There's nothing more important than our relationships. I would suggest finding an emotionally focused therapist, somebody certified. You can go to ICEEFT.com to find a qualified therapist near you. But in terms of turning this on the victim and making their responsibility to fix it, if you find that you are constantly being ignored, nothing that you say or do can make a difference, your partner's refusing to budge, they don't care and they don't want to do anything about it, and they're not going to go get help with you or anything like that, my question to you is, how do you feel about yourself? How are you being invisible to yourself? What about that are you tolerating? What is okay with that? So I just wanted to kind of toss that out there and put that back. In no way do I want to be victim blaming or anything like that. But in relationships, unless it's an intimate partner violence relationship where, things are, you're with somebody who manipulated with you and it's that's a whole other can of worms. But it is your responsibility to take care of yourself. Well, in that case as well, obviously, but it is your responsibility to fix the dynamic. In relationships, I forget who originally said this, but it's not like 50%, 50%. It's 100%, 100%. We have 100% responsibility to take care of our relationships. And that's really the best advice I can give you, other than, what are you doing? Get out, right? That's the other answer. Again, not so easy if you're in a, classic intimate partner violence situation. But in this one, that's what I wanted to say. So I wanted to respond to this comment because a lot of people say, I've tried all this and it's not working and da-da-da. Then my question becomes, well, what are you doing? Obviously, there's a part of you that wants to stay. Otherwise, you wouldn't be. And there might be something worth fighting for. But is that the case? Or are you acting out of fear? Where have you abandoned yourself? So those are my parting words. I wanted to just record this video to share those thoughts and those comments. And I would really welcome any feedback. I'll share a link to the original post because there's tons of comments. Some of them aren't so positive. Some of them, it seems like it hit the nail on the head for some people, but it's a popular post. And so I thought it was my obligation to kind of say a little bit more about that. So I want to thank you for watching. And as always, if you have any thoughts or questions, you can email me directly, Genev@drgenevcadell.com. Check out mybestrelationship.com. Send me a contact through there. Feel free to comment on this video or on the post. And thank you for watching. All right, take care, guys.